I'm going to show you how to configure CapturOne and Lightroom to work flawlessly with Adobe DNG Converter. I am aware that many applications will make DNGs. We highly stress that you use Adobe DNG Converter. It only does one thing. It takes raw files and converts them to DNG files so that they can be uploaded to the Gittings management system, the GMS workflow, which can be accessed through the Photographer Portal. Okay, so before we can actually do any conversions, we have to shoot some pictures. I have two sets of pictures. They're actually the same photos. One's created in Lightroom and one's created in CapturOne. So let's start with CapturOne. This is the session gray card. You'll notice it has a red tag. It has to have a red tag. If it does have a red tag, then the system knows that it's the gray card and it won't ask you. Then we have 3 different folders with 3 different people in them. You'll notice there's a 5-star rated photo in each folder. So each person has picked the one photo that they like, and that's why I was given a 5-star. Before we can leave CapturOne, we have to make sure that one thing is set correctly. So top left-hand corner, let's go to Preferences. The third item over, it says Image. All the way at the bottom, where it says Metadata, we have to make sure Full Sync is selected, and we have to make sure that both of these checkboxes are checked. We prefer embedded XMP, and we prefer sidecar files. So that means once you have that set, by the way, you can just close that and it should keep it every time you do a shoot. That means that any changes we make to XMP data, like star ratings or color ratings, are going to be kept in the XMP sidecar. So I'm actually done shooting. So I'm going to quit CapturOne. And just to show you what I mean, this is a raw file, right? This is the gray card file. And then it has an XMP sidecar, which is just data. Same with all these other folders. Raw file, XMP sidecar. Raw file, XMP sidecar. Okay, so I'm done shooting with CapturOne. Now I'm going to set up Adobe DNG. I'm going to convert those raw files into DNG so that I can upload them to Gittings. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that job name and I'm going to put it in a folder so I know to upload it to Gittings. So I create on my desktop one called Upload to Gittings. So I know that that's where the DNGs are going to go. So let's go through the 4 sections. First section, selecting the images to convert. This is where are the images coming from. So I'm going to navigate to where the raw files are. I'm going to pick the raw files. So it's this whole folder. And again, I don't have to go all the way to where the images are. Just the outside folder is adequate because it will find all of the raw files within those folders. I'm going to include images contained within subfolders and skip source image if destination already exists, meaning you don't have to do the work twice. Section 2. Where am I going to save them? I'm going to save them to a new location. So I'm going to go to my Upload to Gittings. The folder I just created is blank. It's empty. That's where I want to put the DNGs. That way I can keep the DNGs and the RAWs separate. I'm going to preserve subfolders. So it will create that structure for me that the original files are in. Okay. Section 3, we can leave blank. The naming, that doesn't matter. Section 4, this is really important. So pay close attention to this section. I need to change my preferences from, let's start with compatibility, the first section. I need to make sure it's set to Camera Raw 14, not later, but Camera Raw 14. The second section, the preview and fast load data. I need to set this to medium size. The JPEG preview must be set to medium. I do not want to check this. I do not want to check this embed fast load data box. I don't want that. Section 3 here, I do want lossy compression. So yes, we want to compress the files. That's what makes them smaller and faster. Okay, so we are going to preserve pixel count and we're going to leave this last one blank. If we click original raw file, it will actually double the size of the file instead of make it half the size or smaller. Okay, so Camera Raw 14, medium size, lossy compression. We're going to press OK. Now we can go ahead and press convert. It's going to convert all of the raw files and it's going to convert them to DNGs and it's going to put them in a new location. This is a really fast application. It's a single button you have to push and it's going to do all of that work for you. And in fact, you'll notice if I click on here, it even keeps that structure. That structure looks a lot like this structure. Okay, so it's already done. Boom, done. That was so easy. So you'll notice this has now one DNG in it, whereas the original has a raw file and an XMP. So Adobe DNG Converter compressed those two and put them into one DNG folder. That's exactly what we want, or one DNG file, excuse me. So the same will be true of the other folders. Raw file, XMP, Adobe DNG Converter makes it one. Okay. The other really important thing to pay attention to is how much it compressed that file. So let's take a look at the raw file. The raw file is 55 megs, and the DNG converter, this one is 17 megs. So it really compressed it, right? It's less than half. So that's all you need to do. We've converted all the raw files to DNG files. We are done. Now, I'm going to show you the exact same thing using Lightroom instead of CapturOne. Let's take a look at our ratings. So these are all the pictures that have a 1 star or better. Let's take a look. Red. Red is our gray card shot. So we've marked that as red. So we're ready to go. Now, let's take off the red filter and let's put on 5 stars. Okay, so we have 3 5-star images. Right? Each one of these has a 5-star rating. We know that this works. Okay, we are ready to go. They all are named correctly. They have the right color rating. They have the right star rating. There's one thing we have to double check. Same thing is true for CapturOne that is true for Lightroom. So we're going to go to Catalog Settings. In Catalog Settings, the third one over says Metadata. We have to make sure that automatically write changes to XMP is checked. It is not checked by default, so you have to make sure that that is checked. If that is checked, then we can close this, and when we go to export, it's going to carry over all those XMP files. So here we go. So we have a raw file, we have an XMP. We should have a raw file and an XMP. So the same sort of thing is true for Lightroom that it is for CapturOne. So we've selected the source folder. We're going to press select. Now we need to choose the destination where it's going to go. Same sort of thing. I created a copy of this folder name and I put it in the upload to Gittings because that's where the DNGs are going to go. So I'm going to choose that. So right now it's blank. We're going to preserve subfolders, although I don't think there's going to be any. Section number 3, file naming, that all stays the same. Just double check that your preferences are the same. So we have Camera Raw 14, medium size, and we're going to use lossy compression. I'm going to go ahead and press convert. And what you'll notice is over here, it's going to start to populate with all of the DNG files. And just like before, we don't have a raw and then an XMP. We only have one. We just have a DNG. Okay, there we go. So it's all done. It only took a few seconds. That's all Adobe DNG Converter does. It converts raw files with their XMP sidecars, and it turns them into DNG files that can be uploaded straight to the server. So I'm going to hide this. I don't need it anymore. Now that we've converted all of our files, we're ready to upload. So I can come here to the Photographer Portal. I can go to the home. I can find the job in question. I can go right here where it says upload and manage files. I'm going to now grab these files. Remember, that's why I kept them separate, so I know that these are the DNGs. I don't have to worry about subfolders and all that. The system will find them all. You can just take these and dump them right here. We're going to start the uploads, and they'll automatically be uploaded to the Gittings Photographer Portal, which is the GMS workflow. Adobe DNG Converter will work every single time, and it's a really fast application. Okay, all those pictures are uploaded. That was really fast. Literally while I was showing you this, you're done. You can now submit this job. It's all ready. If you have any additional questions or need any help with Adobe DNG Converter, please reach out to support@gittingsglobal.com and have a great shoot.